Welcome to Success in Business. This is where entrepreneurs come together to share their nuggets of wisdom. And today we have on our show a guest, Rick Salmeron. Welcome, Rick.
Hi, Stacy. Thank you so much for having me today. I feel so honored to be next to the $1 Million Smile woman.
Thank you. Oh, we're happy to have you. Okay, let me tell our guests a little bit about Rick. Okay, so Rick is an entrepreneur and a financial advisor. He has clients all over the US. He's based in Dallas, Texas, and he's a certified financial planner, and he's the CEO of Salmeron Financial. He helps people spend less time worrying about their money so that they can enjoy other areas of life. And Rick has a quote that I love: grow your wealth so that you can grow your life. Thanks for being here, Rick.
Great to be here. Thank you, Stacy. It's an honor.
You're welcome. All right, so let's get started. And Rick, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started in your industry.
Oh, wow. I went to college with a computer science degree, so I'm a left-brainer. Yeah, I probably was born a left-brainer. I'll bet you that I had Excel spreadsheet prints on my pillowcases as a child. I don't know. However, I do like to say that I started in this business not through an after college experience or through a job. It was really when I was a child. When I was 8 years old, I love to tell this story. I grew up in Oklahoma City, and at age 8 on a Saturday morning, I remember it like it was last weekend. It was a beautiful sunny day. I was at the breakfast table. My mother approached me, placed her right hand on my shoulder and said, "Son, today's going to be a very special day because today we are going to go to a savings and loan and open a savings account for you." And I looked up to her, paused, and didn't really know what that meant. I said, "What does that mean, Mom?" She replied, "Well, see, if you allow them to keep your money, they will pay you money for keeping your money." Still, at the tender age of 8, that didn't quite resonate. However, whatever was good for my mom was good for me. So I dropped my spoon in my Lucky Charms. We went into the car, drove to the savings and loan. I emptied my pockets with change, $10 worth of change scattered on the counter. My mother matched that with another $10. So was born first savings account with 20 bucks. It was 90 days later when I first received my first statement in the mail. That $20 grew to $20.15.
Wow.
That was an aha moment. That registered. I thought to myself, wow, all I have to do is let my money do its own thing there and it will grow for me. That was really amazing. And ever since then, we all learn a lot of our life lessons as a child, right? And I went to college. I got my first job in corporate America, didn't really like it. I wanted to do something more entrepreneurial on my own and wondered what could that be? And looking back, I noticed this pattern of behavior, these actions that my first stock investment was at age 18. I bought my first house at age 22. I maxed out on my company's 401k, my first job, without even having a second thought, and lived on whatever I could take home. So I saw this as part of my DNA, and then it dawned on me, wow, this is so natural. How can I use this skill set to add value to the marketplace and create my own business? And that's how it began in 1990. Worked for a company for 11 years, grew, and then opened Salmeron Financial in 2001. And that's where I've been since, helping wonderful people. I love my clients, helping them grow their wealth so that they can grow their life.
Excellent. Oh, I love it. I love how you told us that story. You really brought us in. Your bowl, your spoon, and your Lucky Charms. That was really great. I enjoyed that very much. Awesome. All right. So I would like to know, what is the worst advice you hear out there in the financial world?
Oh, it really bothers me when people are lured to chase after the latest and greatest hot thing. whatever that might be. It is so tempting. I get it. I understand. We're all human, me included. However, I see way too many people going after I won't name names, but there may be some particular cryptocurrencies that I might be thinking about, or hot stocks, or hot sectors of the moment. See, we're so very tempted to believe, well, whatever is rising up into the stratosphere, its only direction is up. So we might as well start now. Yet the problem is when we recognize and realize how amazingly strong and powerful, whatever it might be, that's the moment when the lights are just about to be turned off. We get, I say metaphorically, we get in at the top, the next direction is bottom, and that's the worst thing that can happen to anyone in their investment life.
Yes.
That one really bugs me.
Okay, that's excellent. Thank you for sharing that. All right. So if ever, okay, tell us what you love about your job. What are the highlights about your job? And then I'll ask you what the hardest parts are. So tell us about
I love the relationships that I create with my clients. I love the one-on-one. I love watching them grow. They love watching me grow. It's really, my boutique firm has created, I feel, an ecosystem of very content and happy clients that I've developed this nice relationship with. It's a solid one. It's a professional one. I want to look after their money first and foremost. However, I cannot provide guidance or direction or recommendations in a vacuum. I need to know about them as a person. I need to know about their family. I need to know about what their future holds. What do they want to have happen? And that's very enriching. And it's extremely enriching to see how my influence, I believe, and my guidance has helped move them in that direction to get closer to whatever dream or dreams that they have. That's very, very fulfilling to me. I love that about my career.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Okay, and then what's the hardest thing?
The hardest thing is sometimes keeping clients' behavior in check. Like I say, you're so attracted to the latest and greatest, whatever it is, or you get freaked out because things are at a down and we're in a recession and the market is crashing and oh my gosh, it's the hardest and most challenging part is controlling the behavior of my clients. And I encourage anyone listening to this that the key, not a key, but the key to growing wealth, to achieving or pursuing financial independence has very little to do with actual investment selection, has a lot to do with behavior. The actions that you take and the actions that you don't take, those add up to the results on your balance sheet, on your investment account. So really the hardest part is when things are really bad, we as a human, we feel like that's always going to happen. That's the next forever and ever and ever. And that's just not the case. On the flip side, the greed, let's call it, the aura of amazing abundance when things are really wonderful and great. And then again, we feel like the only direction is up. We want to jump on top of the next thing that happens to be blowing out of the stratosphere, yet that also too can be a very behavioral mistake. Keeping things with boundaries in line, straight down the middle of the fairway is probably the most challenging part of my business.
That makes perfect sense. Yes. Awesome. Okay. So let's hear a success story about your coaching. What's a time where either things were challenging and hard and then the sun came out and it was so much better, or just something great about your coaching experience, your advising experience?
There were many instances in, say, 2008 and 2009 when the world was coming to an end, right? And the backbone, the spine of the financial system of our country, if not our world, was really crippled. And a lot of people really felt like, oh my gosh, this has never happened before. This time it's different, and the world is going to come to collapse. So when you're on your own, it's very easy to jump off the ledge. It's easy to allow your emotions to take the better of you and you fall off the cliff, and looking back, yes, that's still a memory, but it's a distant memory. And helping people come off of the ledge is something that I feel like any great advisor should be a part of the client's life, to make sure that they're not freaking out, that they're not letting their emotions get the better of them. That's a general benefit on past experience, a story that I can share with you. And that didn't happen to just one client. It happened to a number of clients. I would say still a minority, but still there's emotions involved, right? So that's really a value added that the advisor can add to the client's life, is keeping those emotions in check.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one example. I can also think of another example. As recently as last year, one client of mine had a tremendous amount of wealth in one particular stock, and that stock will go unnamed. However, it was a tech stock, and many tech stocks have a tendency to balloon. And he wasn't quite sure, should we diversify or not? It was my view, diversification made sense. And thank goodness we did that, because had we not done any changes, had we not added diversification into his situation, that tech stock, that personal wealth went from this size of a balloon, and I'm pulling my hands about 6 inches apart, it would have shrunk down to maybe 2 inches because of the sudden drop in value. So it's easy to love it when it's great, but you really have to be careful. So it's very helpful at times to have an outside set of eyes looking in, to shine lights on angles that you as a person yourself are unable to see at that time.
Excellent. Oh, that's good. And that actually segues perfectly to my next question. And that is, what advice would you give to someone who is on the fence about whether or not to hire a financial advisor?
Yes, well, certainly this is something that people can do on their own. I'm not encouraging everyone get a financial advisor. However, I would say, how valuable is your time? How many hours a day? How many hours a week? How many hours a month? I don't know. Most people probably don't measure this. Yet just imagine if you're in the workforce, you're a business owner, your forte is running the show. If you're a business owner, for example, you're excellent at what you're doing. Your hourly rate, whatever that is, I don't know, but it's because of you behind the wheel that's generating the revenue of the business, that's generating the income at the job. That's probably the most valuable use of that person's time. If you take away any amount of time towards managing, making decisions, making investment decisions with your money, your finance, your portfolio, always wondering, is it in the right places? It's moving in the direction that I want. I'm not sure, am I missing out on something? There's so many unknowns. So deviating from what your forte is, in my view, is possibly not the best use of your time. So imagine if you had a team. Imagine if you had, frankly, a dream team of yourself behind the wheel, let's say as Captain Kirk, to make the Star Trek analogy here, all right? And having a crew of Scotty and Mr. Spock, and what I'm saying is a financial advisor, a team of advisors behind you, so that the ship can move with the force of a 777 jumbo jet, right? Versus a Cessna airplane. That's what I would say to those pondering, should I get an advisor or not? And again, there's no law that requires you to. However, if you can find the right one that speaks your language, that you can communicate with, that you can have a chemistry with and a connection, that could be an extremely valuable long-term relationship that I would encourage for everybody.
Excellent. Excellent. That's great. Okay. So I have a question. And so when I think about spending or saving, a lot of times people will kind of they'll think all the benefits of spending and not think about all of the benefits of saving. And so I was thinking about what you said earlier, how your bank account grew in 90 days, 15 cents, and you saw it as a young child and it became part of your DNA. How could you make saving more exciting for our listeners?
How could I make it more exciting? Let's see. Well, I'm not sure how exciting this is. However, I would say that it all comes down to habits. We have our habits, and some of us have a lot of spending habits. Others don't have enough saving habits. What I could say is that if you are in a situation of, gosh, I feel like I'm spending more than I'm saving, I guess one way to make it fun or exciting is go to the drugstore or Walmart, grab a few empty jars, and in the jars, label them $1, $5, and $10. And what I would like to task everyone to do is every single day, place those jars on top of your refrigerator or your kitchen counter, somewhere where it's visible. So create the environment where you can see you're making a concerted effort to save. Every single day, I want people to make a commitment of what was I planning to spend today? And instead of doing that, stop. Redirect that expenditure to one of the three jars, whatever one of those jars is. Is it a $1 bill? Is it a $5 bill? Is it a $10 bill? Make a $20 bill. Make a $100 bill jar. Make a series of jars and make sure that they're clear so you can watch the bills as you're placing them in. Just slowly mount, slowly, and soon, hopefully all of the jars there's not going to be enough room to stuff another bill in because you've done such a fantastic job creating a brand new savings system and prevented you from spending money in frivolous stuff that only builds up into the corners of your house, and it really creates a junky atmosphere, and you don't need that energy in your house. You need build up energy in your bank account, not in your living room, right? So yeah. That's one creative idea.
I love it. I love it. I love how visual that is too. You can see the decision that you made over and over grow and change the pattern. And then once it's a habit, then you changed who you are. You changed a lot about yourself. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yes. I love that.
Yep. Perfect. Okay. I love it. All right. So now let's talk about how an apparent failure that you've experienced set you up for later success. And I like to ask this question. Do you have a favorite failure? Because we learned so much from our family.
In my business, I'd say one of my failings was long ago. I used to believe when I first started in business in the decade of the 90s, I used to believe that the value added to my clients was being a walking encyclopedia. I felt like if I capitalized on my left brain existence, if I could recite, IRS codes and laws and rules and regulations, that's what my clients were looking for. And that may have been the case pre-Google, all right, in the 90s. We can look all that stuff up today in a heartbeat. However, looking back, I wish I would have done things differently. And looking back, instead of being, well, I should be a walking encyclopedia, that's really not my value added. Instead, my value is hospitality. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. There's a difference between client service and hospitality, or customer service and that I've learned. And customer service, client service, delivering what you say you're going to deliver with accuracy and precision, doing what you say you will do. That's very valuable, don't get me wrong. And that's something that all business owners should always adhere to, in my view, no doubt. Yet what I wish I did more so much earlier in my career was not only that, but adding the hospitality element. And the difference between client service and hospitality is when you deliver that service, how does your client feel? It's the feeling, the hospitality, the feeling that makes all the difference in the world. That makes you memorable.
Yeah.
When you deliver what you say you will in a way that's not only meets the standard, but maybe it's way above the standard. Wow, the aha moments, the experience. There's nothing more strong in my view than that. And I'm still working on that today. I don't have this mastered. I'm just grateful that I recognized this a while ago, and I really have a strong focus on that.
That's excellent. I actually watched a video that you have out there about how you, it's showing clips with you with clients, and you're not just like in a sterile environment. You're at restaurants, you're out at cafes, and it just and you see your clients just laughing, and I can tell that you've achieved that's been an area that you focused on and that you've had happen. So that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now I have an exciting question. I'm so excited to hear the answer.
Yeah.
It's, what is one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've done personally?
Oh, investing in myself, no doubt. No doubt. Everything comes down to investing in me. And I'm going to say that's the case for everybody. When I learned that the most important investment of my time and money is my self-esteem, my self-estimate, my self-worth, how I feel about myself, that is the root of all my actions. That's the root of all my behaviors. I do not take any actions that go beyond how I feel about myself. And I believe that's the case with everybody. So once I discovered how important the investment of one's self-esteem, and I've done that through personal development and personal growth, it's like the oxygen mask on me first before I can help the person next to me. When I spend time and energy on that, then I know I'm showing up in the world as great of a business owner, as great of a financial advisor, as great of a husband, as great of a father, as great of a neighbor, as great of a contributor to the world, as great of and on and on and on. I show up in my best version of myself when I know my self-esteem is at a top register. And I'm always looking for the next level up with that.
The best investment is in yourself. I love that. And this is coming from someone who that's what you live and breathe and walk. That's what you do. This is your life, is investing. And you said the best investment, and you advocated that for us to invest in yourselves. Yeah. What in the past, like say 5 years, what new belief, habit, or behavior has most improved your life?
What patterns most improved my life?
Yeah, like a new belief or habit or behavior.
A new belief is there are many. However, in the last 1 or 2 years, a strong belief is I love to pay attention to the crowd I hang around with, the people that I surround with, because who I hang out with is who I become. The people that I spend most of my time with, when I look at them, I see my future. So similar to my self-esteem, if one has a strong self-esteem about themselves, they care about their future. So therefore, what I love doing is pursuing how can I establish better, more deep relationships with individuals that have my values, that see a similar future for themselves as I do myself, because that's where I'm going to draw my energy from. That's made a huge difference, huge difference. I wouldn't be on this podcast had it not been for that. I would not have felt worthy enough to be here with you, Stacy, had it not been for the realization of who I hang out with is who I become, and focusing on my self-esteem, because that would not have been in my comfort zone even as early as 3 years ago. Or the social media posts, or the video that you mentioned. In the pre-Rick zone, I'll call it, version 1.0 versus version 2.0, I would not have felt worthy enough to share my wisdom or to share my thoughts or my my tips, whatever the case is. And now I realize that was a mistake, and I'm grateful to have this opportunity today to continue to share what I feel like is good stuff that hopefully the glow will reach others and they will be inspired similarly.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing a bit of your journey with us. That's amazing. That's really cool. Yes, and you do have so much to offer, and you say it in a very enjoyable way. Like the way that you speak, it's very interesting. A lot of times left brainers don't do that. So I wanted to compliment you on that. Okay, what advice would you give to a smart, driven college student about to enter the real world, or what advice should they ignore?
Well, they should ignore the advice, like I mentioned earlier, of chasing after rosy, high flying, whatever the case is. Stay away from that. But I'm going to go back to habits. Anyone starting out, and it doesn't, even if you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, but if you're a college student, gosh, starting off with getting into a pattern of saving now, start doing it now while the cement is still drying. Start doing it now before the space inside your habit zone in your head fills up with other stuff. Now it's perfectly fine. I'm not a minimalist. I don't advocate leading a boring life. I love having a great life. Yet I want people to have a great life 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now too. And what will take that is growing that pot of gold. And that takes time. And that requires habits. That requires savings patterns. I like to call it Netflixing your savings. Do it automatically. Have it done on a monthly, regular boom, so you don't even see it happening. You won't miss it. You miss it. Once you start early, you're way ahead of the game.
So kind of, I don't know, you don't have to have these statistics in your head, but give us an idea of what happens when a person starts saving in their 20s versus when they start saving in their 40s.
Yeah, I don't have this memorized. I've seen this a number of times. However, there's a graphic that compares two individuals. I don't know the numbers exactly. However, they're both 25 years old. Person number one sets away the maximum in an IRA for, I'm making this up, 7 years, and then they stop. Person number two doesn't. They wait until year number 8. But that person says, you know what, I'm going to show person number one, I'm going to set aside the maximum every single year for the next 30 years. Who wins when they cross the finish line? Of course, drum roll, person number one has a greater account than person number two, and that's because of the time and the compounding interest. It's a math exercise, but it's the truth.
Yes, it's amazing. I can't believe the difference. It's so huge. Crazy. Like it's even huge. If they do it and then just stop, they're like, okay, now I'm done with saving, and then they start, spending, and they keep their original savings.
And before anyone says, okay, great, but I'm not 25 years old, I'm 45 years old, I'm 55 years old. Yes, perhaps so. However, if you can still do something, don't you want your pot of gold to be as strong as possible? Yes. So be careful. It's, again, behavior. Don't let your mind play tricks with you. Things are, well, I'm too young for this. And then suddenly, oh, I'm too old for this. It's not that. Just start, take action, do it now. And even if you're doing it now, what could you do even a little bit more? And still, you won't even miss it. Save more for yourself so that you can rest and relax easier when you retire, so that you can retire soon. You can give to charities in a more abundant fashion. It's all coming from you and your actions.
Yes. Oh, so good. So good. I was thinking when you were talking about how when people feel like they need to always be giving, but they're not saving for their future, what advice could you say about that? Like where people feel like they want to be giving now, but how do you help them maybe even delay that? You talked about charities and things that you can do so much more if you've focused on your own savings first.
Gosh, I've never run into a person who has been giving to others more so than themselves. However, that's remarkable. That's remarkable. I would say to that person, I love this activity. You're the most generous person on the planet Earth. Let's make sure this can go on year after year after year. Because if you're not focusing on yourself, once again, I'm going to go back to put the oxygen mask on you first before you can help the people next to you. If you run dry, that doesn't help the people around you. If you are running on an empty tank, that doesn't help your family, that doesn't help your charities, that doesn't help the other entities that you want to give to, whether it be monetarily or not. But the root of all life peace of mind, in my view, is, as it sounds selfish, but it's not, and that is investing and saving for yourself, in yourself, so that you can grow, so that you can be so powerful, you're stretching your greatness and your wonderfulness to far more people than had you starved yourself and not paid attention to yourself, versus just paying your resources and your attentions to other people. So don't forget yourself. You are the root cause of all the magic happening. You are the magician, and people need a strong magician to have a great show.
Awesome. Awesome. That was really good. While you were talking, I was like, oh, I want to take notes because you're quotable. That was quotable. I really loved what you said. It's really good. Oh, wow. Okay. So we're going to do some kind of fun ones. So what purchase have you made in the last few months or year that was less than $100 that you felt like added value to your life? And it's kind of fun if you want to tell us like the make and model, like I got this thing and it's cool. Like tell us about anything like that.
It was maybe $3. This is not it, but it kind of looks like it. A postcard, a note card, a handwritten note that I mailed to, in this case, it was a client, but it doesn't need to be a client. It could be a friend. Put it in the mailbox. How are you doing? You mean a lot to me, and I just wanted you to know that today. Signed, Rick. That touch is an element of hospitality that is very impactful. Those types of actions, in my view, receiving, think about yourself when you're going to your mailbox and you pull out the mail, when you see that handwritten envelope with a commemorative stamp on, you want to read it. That stands out. You open it, you see this handwritten note to you asking about how you are. Those types of memos, those don't get thrown away. Those find a place above the sink in the kitchen, or on the piano in the living room, or somewhere that they're visible. It's a very inexpensive way to touch a person's life for possibly months, if not years.
Wow. Oh, that's so good. That's beautiful. I love that. All right. What is something unusual? What's an unusual habit or an absurd thing that you love?
I don't know if this is terribly unusual. However, I'm a hot yoga addict.
Oh, wow.
I do Bikram yoga pretty regularly. I mean, like 4, 5, 6 times a week.
Wow.
So I'm in there sweating on a regular basis, and it's tough, it's hard, it's challenging. I've been doing it for 22 years now.
Wow.
I'm going to be coming up on 2,000 classes this year one time. I'm not sure when, but I'm soon to arrive at the 2,000 class mark. Every time it's hard. I walk in, it's tough. And when I walk out, I feel like $1 million.
Wow.
Every single time. But it works for me. I know it's not right for everyone. However, it's wonderful, wonderful medicine for me.
Wow, I love that. Thank you. All right, for our last question, if you could have a gigantic billboard that has anything that you want on it, and this is metaphorically speaking, so it doesn't have to necessarily fit on a billboard, but what is a message you would like to get out to the millions?
It's all about behavior. Your financial wealth, your financial independence, if you want to retire earlier, if you want to be able to provide money for your children's college education, if you want to be able to give to charities, if you want to have that second home, if you want to have your financial dreams become more and more and more of a reality, do not focus on selection, although it's important. Instead, focus on behavior, the actions that you take and do not take. That is key to where you want to go: smoother, faster, and more efficient.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Oh, this has been amazing. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on Success in Business. Would you like to say any last words, Rick?
It's been wonderful experiencing you. I hope everyone has gained some value out of this. If you want to find me on social media, follow me. I share a lot of good tips and videos for your enjoyment. I'm happy to help anyone with any matter. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions. I'm happy to guide you.
Go ahead and share with us just verbally, and we'll also include it in the comments, but give us your email or your website.
Okay. You can go to salmeronfinancial.com. That's my website. And look up Rick Salmeron on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn, either one. But
okay.
Love to connect with everyone.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.